Okay, so I got this email, somebody asking about this strategy or this style of trading that I'm doing, which is just placing a lot of orders, basically. I don't know if there's any other way to put it. I'm just diversifying my orders, and each order has a different purpose, a different strategy, multiple strategies, actually. It's kind of like it's just a big giant grab bag, because to just isolate one, to backtest one idea, one concept, I think is building a fragile system that's just a one-trick pony. Sure, it performs well, but it only performs well under certain conditions. And you kind of need this, you don't want to have the Titanic situation where you have this thing that's totally amped up to do, no offense to Titanic builders, but I think that's a classic case. They're still playing that drama out in the movies. And the whole concept of a Titanic that's unsinkable, that you built such a robust trading approach. You have this Holy Grail. And you'd have to have at least 10 Holy Grails, because the real world just does not support utopian structures. And symmetry is also a bad thing. Like, if you look at these hot-looking girls, you notice that their face is a little crooked. And actually, I'm really kind of partial to the girls. With any girls that have gaps in their teeth, give me a ring, give me an email. I like the fact that something's not perfect is certainly what's making it look appealing. And certainly if people want to put their perfect patterns on top of the market and look for this utopian entry, I just don't think it exists. And so the question here is about, and I can't really, read through this a few times, and it's quite a complicated scenario. And I think with the question, no offense to the guy asking the question, but every time you read somebody's question, you can read into it how they think. So I just would say he's got a if it does this and if it does that, and all this. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We just have to build our trade plans and then just walk away. Now, all those ifs would go into it up front, of course, but then, of course, it's going to be, if you put the stops too tight, then you're going to get stopped out. You won't be able to ride the up or down movements to actually cash out and actually even survive enough to say, you know what, this is going to be a scalp. Even though I put stops in there that are designed for a swing trade to 100 pip stops, they're just like end of the world stops to a scalper. This idea that you're going to tighten your stop up, I was watching the order flow garbage, and they're like, well, you can better put stop placement. Listen, stop placement. And I'm always assuming when I hear these guys talk, they're talking from the standpoint of they are trading one do or die contract. They're literally risking 2% of their account on one trade. And they're trying to make money day trading. There are so many retests in the market. There's two. There's the first test that you know of exists. That one's already spelled out. That's happened. So you know that's the feeding zone. That is now an established price turning point because it closed up and it went back. And so you know that exists for certain. There's no, you can't spin that any other way. And no amount of order flow, institutional books shows what brand of cigar the guy's smoking, who's pulling the giant levers that run the big machines that the Illuminati sits behind with their Puff the Magic, H&R Puff and stuff gear. Nobody, it's not going to matter to you because you've got 3 trading accounts and you're not even in that currency. So that conspiracy isn't going to affect you. And is anybody really believe this shit? Is everything just clickbait on the internet? And you see views on stuff and you just think, people are watching this from like a Jerry Springer standpoint. They're like, this can't even be real, right? But this has creeped into trading too. This whole institutional big boy paranoia. So here the guy's asking me about elaborate psychological. I think these are just speaks to the trying to micromanage everything up front instead of just taking a trade by trade basis and just saying, okay, that thing. And at the end of the day, just do the math. I mean, this is very unromantic assessment. You know, this is like, should I marry her? Well, let me see her scorecard. Of course, you know, you fall in love, right? You don't just think in love. So the idea is you fall in love with a trade and you're like, oh man, this is going to retrace. And you might be right in the end, right? It might retrace, but it's how do you build into the sell-off for the bounce? Or how do you build into even the building up a position to sell here on this dollar yen? Sent me a dollar yen chart. Do we build up and just start piling stops in above this line up here, just above here, and just get ready to ride this puppy through the floor? And my personal approach is that if I see this low, I can place an order here to buy again, and I can just put a bunch of orders, yes, randomly, like this guy's asking me. You mean you're just going to put a bunch of orders here? I'm like, hell yeah. And maybe these don't fill down here, but I don't have a lot of energy built into placing those, but I get filled on these buy limits, say. And he's also got sell limits in here, so I don't know if he's trying to make money from just these micro fluctuations. Now, if the ratios are right, you can make money from just these little jigglies, right? And if you can just imagine scenarios out of here and how it's going to cash out. Now, here you can't really overthink, and he's also got a 0.3 on another chart, which goes way back to another pivot area there. And it is true. And he's assuming he's an intelligent person. He's thinking through every possible, what's going to happen in the long run through every thing. And it's totally possible to lay all that out and have, but you could also canvas that whole area like a blind pig. Now, imagine these orders are all standard lots right now. Everything on the screen that he placed there. And then imagine the same thing that they're all half of a lot, standard lot. It creates a whole different feeling for that situation to play out. Because the market, one thing I think we can all guaranteed, 100% guarantee, this is the one thing everybody knows for certain, that the euro versus the dollar will not trade at this level. It will not trade in a 20 pip range for the next 20 years. If that's true, then how can you make money from that? It should be as simple as can be, because you're only left with two choices, buy or sell. What if it goes and does a fake breakout and comes back to this level again and it just sits there and goes sideways? Okay, that's one trade on one position size. Or maybe that was 20 trades in different values. Now, how that's playing out in the whole inventory of all your trades is so inconsequential to whether or not you're going to make money overall on everything, because everybody walks into your store. Imagine you have a retail store. People walk in with crazy stuff like, oh, we're going to want to sell something that's just like pet rocks. Remember? I don't know if you remember pet rocks. You buy these rocks for like $5 mail order. You get a box, and on the box it said pet rocks, and it was just rocks in there. Now, let's face it, it was a little overpriced, right? But they were pet rocks, and the box said that. So it's a novelty. Now, that may not sell. You might just be like the dumbest, but you could never live off of one. Even the guy on TV, probably not shown overseas, but there was a guy, Pickham, the guy that was creating all these like inside the eggshell egg scramblers, like all these inventions, right? You come out on TV and have a bunch of this stuff, the Ronco this, the Ronco that. Well, I mean, not everything's sold, and stuff he's probably sued, right? This blew up in somebody's face. And I guess, every time I see somebody's got the, oh, this is a great trade. Like, look at this MACD tool. Okay, it's good for one trade. How is this thing making money all the time? It can't be. It just can't. There's not enough setups to warrant you waiting for a goddamn, especially MACD the way it's loaded. It was it 26, 12, 9. Where are these not? Well, first time I saw that, I thought, where did these numbers come from? This is why I go with number one, 1 period moving average, because you can't fuck that up. As soon as you go to 2 period moving average, you're like, yeah, it's a little laggy, a little laggy. It's not what's really going on. Okay, I'm getting off the topic of this guy's question, but his question is, if it comes towards it, would it be valid to buy from point 3, then be sold at point 4 to fill the void and buy again at point 5? So he's playing out way into the future. We don't have to go that far, and this is also the thing, is that we don't need to know what's going to happen next to make money. We certainly don't need to know what's going to happen over the next 5 nexes. So those things are just not important to making money. Really is very overwhelming, because if you're in any trade, in any size, you're thinking, well, okay, this trade's going well. It's not a lot of money. I'm really right about this trade, but I should be in bigger. I don't know if maybe I'm alone on this. The trades that went your way, if you look at the books from, if you look at these PAM accounts that people have, and look at the size they're trading, and it's a random, I don't know if it's a random size or whatever, but you see these giant orders that made four pips, and giant orders that lost a ton of money, and then small orders that made a bunch of pips. But you thought, geez, if this guy had only got in this one giant ticket with the, but maybe the stop was so tight on the giant ticket. So that's what's really at the crux of all this stuff, is like size and range. Size of ticket, range of move, because if you're in very small and you have 150 pip stops and you're scalping, you're probably going to make money. I mean, you're going to be underwater, right, until you get to that stop. But hopefully your target is to make 5 pips, because you realize you're just buying at the market. Say if you just literally just bought at the market just because, Anita Baker, just because you just said, I'm just going to get in, and now I'm just going to I have an end of the world stop. I can't lose more than X, and whatever that number is, then you just get the hell out, and you just get back in and get out. Now that could make it easier for you to execute and just get used to trading, and not worry about analyzing the market. Because analyzation is just a completely different mindset. Anybody can hindsight. Anybody can look back and say, "Oh, I would have done this one." But when it's happening, though, when the market's crashing, or the market is going nowhere, and you're saying, "God, I should have got in here because this is very quiet territory, and look how it went up or down, and I could have put a hedge on." You pay a little bit more, right? Because you're going to stop that at one leg. If you do symmetrical hedge, you know you're going to lose out of one leg. You could have done that trade. But it's a bottomless pit, and because there's so much going on as far as the size and all that. But I'm fascinated by the fact that I can lay in banks upon banks of random orders, yes, random people, random orders, hopefully not the same price, random sizes. I'd say random, I mean a spectrum. I don't want to confuse random with, I think we all know where the stops are, and it just doesn't take any type of rocket science here. And you do not need this order flow crap. You can see the wick right here on the tippy top. Just freaking out the computer here. Yeah. Boy, that Microsoft Paint doesn't like my recording system. I'll go to the actual chart. Okay, here's the actual chart of this thing. So take a look at this. Oh, jeez. My poor computer. Right here. I mean, is this really, do you really need, like, okay, you get a top. This bottom becomes a top. This is a half-hour chart. Becomes a top, becomes a top. Keep on, this is actually really a bottom becoming a top in time. So if you're babysitting this, yeah, you'd have to sell that, resell, resell. You'd have to keep really reselling this area. This is resistance. And this is support. So you know this exists, you put a buy limit here. But the trade's over here. You can see the exit from a buy-only standpoint. You make money when you get out. Everybody makes money when they get out. So whether you bought or sold, it doesn't matter, because if you're a seller, you have to become a buyer to make money, to get out of that trade. If you can't see this low, you shouldn't be trading, because this is where your buy limit needs to be. Could it keep going down? Yes, but that's not the point. You're a trader. You're not a perfectionist. You're not. Would this be a good place to sell? It always is a good place to sell. Okay, after this big move, if you even bought into this and got stopped out, you made money on this bounce here. So how much coverage did you give this? I'm assuming this is a 10 pip grid. If you bought every 10 pips and you kept getting stopped out, when it finally came back, you made money. Then you did the same thing again. Even if you only trade this from the long side, you know where you got to get out. You can see where the sellers are going to come in. It's a revolving door. And the sellers can see where the buyers are going to come in. So they get out. This is the trap. This is where the buy grid pays off, because you scalp to here, and if you hold through that, back through the fair value. Fair value is the thread that runs through the center of congestion. You don't need market profile, okay? You don't need this shit on the... I looked at all that stuff. I'll be honest with you. I spent thousands of hours looking at all that stuff. And if, for God's sakes, somebody can show me a live trader. There's no live traders out there. Go on YouTube and show me a guy who's trading. There's nobody trading out there. They're all like, well, you see here where you... Yeah, they don't even talk about the order type. They don't even talk about babysitting the market. They don't talk about shit out there. But I'm not surprised, right? Who the... This isn't Dungeons and Dragons. There's nothing sexy about trading. You know, other than the bat wings, right? They should have like a, rack, right? Like rack patterns, really hot breastises on your chart. How about porn trading? Just naughty pictures, for the setups. Yeah, go just for the silhouette patterns, of that. We don't want to be too vulgar. Just wouldn't be right. But yeah, dollar yen. Who's not buying this right here? Okay, now if you bought on a stop here for a breakout to here, you know where your target is. See, the beauty about trading is every moment what the trade should be. We have a double bottom buy. There's no questions asked here. How can people not? Because they want so much information. They want this thing. They want that. They want a horoscope. I'm going to need my Fibonacci tool. I'm going to need my, I don't go anywhere without my order blocks, and I certainly don't get anywhere without my train set. I don't get anywhere without my absorption levels. But you need to be the absorber, okay? You're going to absorb it with your orders are going to be the absorption point. You're going to absorb the price into your buy bank. You are the market. You are your own market maker. Fuck this big boy shit. God, I mean, how nihilistic, what the hell has happened to people's brains, man? On one hand, you have all this technology, all this glorious power. On the other hand, you have people that are regressing psychologically. And it's no wonder these college-educated bozos bring all this minutia, this pointless garbage, but make a whole bunch of money because people, great presentation. I really like your, what? I could care if a guy, but this is why nobody's going to listen to some guy on the street. And they're not going to listen to some hobo. This is what the movie Trading Places is about. Some black guys making calls in the market? Oh, God forbid, right? I mean, I don't even know if Trading Places could even be done today. Eddie Murphy, Trading Places, right? Because it's just too... he was trading really crazy stuff, too. He's trading stuff that goes limit move, like pork bellies and orange juice. And when that stuff goes locked limit and you're on the wrong side of that, that's completely different. Forex isn't even trading compared to that. Forex is just zero risk. Forex is the less risky, the least amount of risk trade. I don't care how much leverage you're trading with. There's the least amount of risk trade out there. There's no contract. You do not obligated to take delivery on the Eurodollar. It's complete garbage. Oh, this is so risky, and these guys over in power trading treat it like they're disarming a fucking nuclear weapon. Well, we need a fib tool. Don't you know the codes on this bomb could go off? What the hell's happened to people? Anyways, I'm trying to make this, trying to keep my anger level. Doctor says I'm going to bust a gusset if I don't calm down. Got a blood pressure gauge on my arm right now. It's riding the storm out. Aerial Speedwagon. But, your buy limit didn't get filled out here. This is why you need a plethora of order. Yes, you need a bunch of random orders in the market. This is sad to say. I know this is a heartbreaker. Now, this is the half-hour chart. If you want to diligently place a buy stop trailing on top of here, you're going to get long here, and you're also long on limits. So you're long on logic, and you're long on volatility breakout. Same thing here. This is the trap, right? This is the buy trap. Oh, I lost on that strategy. Doesn't work. Jesus, if you just got one strategy running, of course it doesn't work. I mean, if you're trying to go out and get a girlfriend, you're going to have to try, like, I brought her carnations, I brought her roses. Finally had to bring her borscht, which is cold soup, right? You never know what is going to be the trigger. You just don't know. That should be the fun part, right? Now, you got buy limits here. You see it plunging, you're like, oh, yeah, love it. I put buy stops in. When this is plunging, I'm loading buy stops, okay? I want to nail this trade. I want to buy this plunge. To me, this is a buy signal. This is a buy signal. If it's going down, I'm buying. I have to. If I wait for confirmation, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to get in. I'm going to, like, waiting for confirmation. What does that look like? Okay, it went up. Well, I'm going to buy. I'm looking for it to follow through. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, God. Okay, it went up. I bought the pullback. Okay. Wah, wah, wah. Back to break even. Oh, jeez. This trading thing's just not working out. Yeah, because you can't wait for confirmation. Grow some fucking testicles. Put buy limits here at this last known low. That's what I'm talking about. Just buy it. And sell it if it goes up. You got sell stops running underneath. Okay, these aren't the best targets in the world, but you knew that coming in because you just fell out of bed. Hopefully you can see the fact that the market's 80% ranging. This is the trend. That was the trend. This is the range, okay? Anyways, I don't know if that helps. I have to go have another cup of coffee. It's just that I'm exhausted from waiting for the guy. I still got to do the thing on Todd Brown, the inventor of empowered trading. Todd Brown, if you want to see something very funny, it's just too funny. I watched this video and just thought, oh my God, this is where disempowered trading got all their ideas from and why they're so screwed up in the head. Mechanical trading is the way to go. If you want to speculate on top of that and make giant leaping projections, which are wrong all day long, hey, that's great, right? That's when you start to have like a bigger picture. But mechanical trading is going to pay the rent. It goes up, you put in a sell stop. It goes down, you put in a buy stop, and you just trade the market. That's order flow. Okay, that's order flow. You're riding the flow of trades. It's flow trading, not order flow analysis. What the hell are these people doing? Where is send me the link. I want to see the guy making money with order flow. It doesn't exist. Oh wait, but OT scalpers making it. What are you talking about? Okay, you're on the internet. Okay, I mean, if that's if he's scalping, why is he watching these other people's videos? And everybody that's criticizing me, where's their video? Show me how you trade. Oh, I don't criticize other traders. Why not? I criticize other musicians. I'm like, this guy plays like shit. This music isn't even music. Why are we afraid to say stuff like, I'm sorry, that's not music. I'm sorry, that's not artwork. You just threw up on a, you mean you're going to put piss in a lucite box and put a statue of Christ in there? Tell me that's artwork? Okay, it's expression, but it doesn't mean it's art. You know, just throwing up on a canvas is not art, right? Well, I guess if you're listening to really good music when you do it, right? Performance art. There's another one. But I think they call that, don't they call that ballet? I don't know, I guess I'm too old. I'm too angry, I'm too old, and I'm just fed up. It's not helping. But anyways, that's I hope that explains the my strategy, which is anger. Anger is a strategy, damn it.